Announced at December 2024's Game Awards, Game of Thrones Kingsroad was an immediate head-turner, fast becoming one of the most anticipated Game of Thrones video games ever, rolling out multiple trailers showcasing features fans have been waiting on for years. The whole project feels like an exciting realization of an open-world game fans have been dreaming about since Season 1. Free to play with no pay-to-win elements, Game of Thrones Kingsroad features perfect recreations of Game of Thrones mainstays like Jon Snow and Cersei Lannister. As an open-world third-person action RPG taking place during Season 4 of the show, you'll experience an original story set within the Game of Thrones world, seeing your custom character visiting everywhere from King's Landing to the Wall, Highgarden, and more. Combat is a ruthless blend of stylish melee and tactile back and forth with enemies, split across 3 classes inspired by Westerosi Knights, the Dothraki, and even the Faceless Men, giving you scores of ways to approach both main story missions and a wealth of side content. It's self-comprising large-scale creature hunts with dynamic multiplayer, assassination contracts, bounties, and rewarding exploration. With an insane amount of content to uncover and sky-high expectations, I got to go hands-on with the PC build of the game for a few hours, to deliver some initial impressions and to see how it's all shaping up. Full disclosure, this code was provided by Netmarble themselves and this is a sponsored video, but we're very much at the early hands-on stage and this is by no means a review. So, first up, character customization. Picking from 3 distinct classes including Sellsword, Knight, and Assassin, you're then able to choose a variety of facial features, hairstyles, scars, and more. I was pleasantly surprised by this, as Game of Thrones Kingsroad's art style hits that perfect balance of mid-show grit for Game of Thrones itself. All your options look suitably weathered, gnarled, and ready to survive in a world of feudal backstabbery. After a few minutes, I decided to opt for a female sellsword, essentially to channel Brienne of Tarth, before getting to grips with the story itself. In Game of Thrones Kingsroad, you play a member of House Tyre, a flailing, desperately wanting house that's seen better days. Cast as the house's bastard child returning to your dying father's bedside, this provides the perfect excuse to not only mingle with the other houses of Westeros, but to try and rebuild your own before it's too late. There's a nicely moody setup to everything, pairing protagonist drive with cutaway montages that refresh even newcomers to the franchise on just what the hell has happened up to this point. In my early impressions, the story side of things was presented supremely well. In many ways, I kept thinking about how tie-in games simply aren't made like this anymore. That approach of fan-pleasing sightseeing, interactions with a known cast of characters, and satisfying gameplay-propelling proceedings in between. Here, you're given a mishmash of responsibility and adventuring, where within the opening hours, you'll do everything from encounter White Walkers north of the Wall to trade dialogue with Jon Snow as to the dire nature of Westeros, before setting off to explore a nicely detailed open world, filled with locations you'll recognize from HBO's take on George R.R. Martin's legendary mythos. Here's where you can tell the developers at Netmarble have a real passion for the IP, as besides actor faces and locations matching their TV show counterparts, every stitch of clothing to sprig of tree bark hanging off a peasant's hut looks like it belongs. There's real investment in nailing the atmosphere and dark fantasy trappings of the show, and although gameplay is an immediate affair with rewarding punchy combat, taking a stroll through Winterfell is just as immersive as it should be. I will say too that it is a thoroughly awesome idea to be able to travel between locations in semi-real time, taking a horse from Castle Black all the way to Winterfell and beyond with only a quick loading screen in between. Yes, Game of Thrones Kingsroad is divided into story chapters that bookend important scenes, but each zone you're exploring is loaded with NPCs to talk to, bounties to take, enemies to find and fight, merchants to trade with, and later base building, crafting, and skill trees to bulk out. Simply because of the legacy the show's 8 seasons leaves behind, there's a curiosity and payoff to each location that, at least during my time with the game, didn't get old one bit and had me excited to see what and who was around the next corner. That latter energy makes up what any longtime fan of the show or books has wanted for years. The notion of traveling these roads yourself, rising to command your own house, upgrade its sigil, and wear a cloak of your own that you can be proud of. Though I'll not delve into spoilers from my short time with Game of Thrones Kingsroad, I do think Netmarble are threading an interesting and fun tale that weaves together major players and cameos to keep the hits coming regarding the cast and the possibilities of a life in Westeros. Over to combat, and Game of Thrones Kingsroad opts for a tactile, satisfying mix of light and heavy combo attacks, brutal finishes if an opponent's stun meter is maxed out, and various specials you can pull off once a cooldown has expired. Combos are snappy and can be unlocked over time, and there's also a crouch mechanic with devastatingly effective stealth kills, if you'd rather thin the herds of a wildling camp from the outside outside instead. Together, you're playing with a set of systems that are pure gameplay forward. Nothing too revolutionary, but perfectly competent as what many have come to expect from the genre. My sellsword ended up with a killer leaping two-handed cleave, a timed strength modifier, and a stylish boot to the face, followed up with an overarching smash that devastated and stunned even the biggest of bosses. Speaking of which, the few bosses I did fight were great fun. Simple enough dances of dashing and dodge rolling out the way of unblockable strikes before returning with a snappy light and heavy combo, necking a potion to recoup some health, and keeping an eye on that overhead smash to deal the killing blow. I'm excited to see what else Game of Thrones Kingsroad has up its sleeve to differentiate in the long run. Where things do get more in-depth is with the various skill trees, crafting and upgrades that you have at your disposal. Your character can be upgraded to learn how to parry right at the beginning, smith new weapons, and invest research into maxing out House Tyre itself. As we're dealing with a point in the show when the White Walkers' march southwards has become near common knowledge, your character and their house are pledging allegiance to the cause, drumming up support from all who listen, and making a name for yourself by going from township to township. Many opponents stand in your way, often with a dialogue option or two letting you choose whether to side with them, back down, or fight, leading to neat branching paths where my sellsword chose to align with some thugs from a neighboring house precisely because we needed their support in the long run. Game of Thrones Kingsroad is available on mobile and PC, and though I only had access to the latter, having a title this vast and playable in the palm of your hand should be pretty damn cool. As you can see, Netmarble are going all out, bringing the Game of Thrones world to life, creating what is to millions of fans a dream come true. Available on mobile and PC, Game of Thrones Kingsroad is raising the bar for mobile RPG experiences, combining the best aspects of the genre with an award-winning IP. With exploration a tantalizing mix of immersive locations crossed with dangerous but rewarding enemies, combat that's snappy and satisfying, and a rich story you can't wait to see more of, PC players interested in trying the demo for Game of Thrones Kingsroad should make sure to wishlist it on Steam. Be sure to check it out. Click the link in the description to follow the official Game of Thrones Kingsroad social channels and website, and stay updated on everything from new releases to exclusive events. Join the excitement today and experience Westeros like never before.